Hello and welcome to Sports Update on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. We've got you covered this evening with a whole lot of stories on Nigerian sporting story, and then we'll look at some fixtures that will be coming up tonight in the English Premier League, La Liga, Italian Serie A, and French Ligue 1. We know that the four top European leagues have started in the course of the weekend, and we've seen surprising results from La Liga, from the EPL, the German Bundesliga is out though, from the Italian Serie A and the French Ligue 1. We've got a whole lot on the show this evening, and I have a friend and a brother on the show, Lasun Omonile, joining me. Welcome to Sports Update on Trust TV.
Good evening. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's begin from this particular story. Yes, it's not a sport that is popular in Nigeria and in the parts of this world, in Africa especially, but I think Nigeria is doing all it can to see how they can also popularize these sports and then get it better. We're talking about fencing. You might be wondering, what is fencing? Fencing is a sport where it's like two players. You can have two, you can have four players, and it's like a sword game. But this time around, Nigerian Fencing Federation hoping to qualify for the for the Los Angeles Olympic Games in America come 2028. And the president of that federation, Adenika Samuel, he himself was a former fencer. He's actually looking forward to Los Angeles Olympic 2028. And a couple of players like Sobayo Temilade or Kalonwon Wisdom and co, who Nigerian Fencing Federation is actually projecting to see how we can get that Los Angeles qualification come 2028.
Yes, I think it's a good one for our country. Unfortunately, we didn't really do very well in this past Olympics, but it's time to put the past behind us and move forward and look forward to the next one in Los Angeles. And what I'm happy for with this coach is he is, like you said, a fencer himself, so he has that experience. He knows what it takes. And another thing that gives me joy with his ideas is that the people he's looking at to represent us in 2028 are actually very young. There's someone who's about 16 years old.
Yes, 16 years of age.
These are talents for the future. So we are looking at the next 4 years. By that time, that fellow will now be 20. So it's a process it's nice that we are starting early. We have recognized the failure of the past, and then we're using that as some sort of a launch pad towards the future. So I'm looking forward to what this coach has for us.
Okay, talking about fencing, like I mentioned from the onset, it's not a popular sport like football, basketball, volleyball, and now Nigeria is trying to hold its own fencing, and I believe some viewers at home right now, this is the first time they'll be hearing something like fencing. I remember we talked on our sports show this game called Boots League sport, and we also have Nigerians who are doing well in that sport. But this time around, fencing, and like you mentioned, 4 years from now, that guy who's about 16 years of age would be 20 by then.
Yes.
How can we actually make this sport popularize it, make it known to Nigerians? Well,
this is the first step. We are talking about it in the media, which is obviously the first step. The people are hearing about it, so they can probably go read about it, watch some videos. It's actually very interesting sport. Very interesting sport if you get into it, and it's something you realize that it's something we when kids used to play around, it's something you can easily inculcate into the culture of children. And let's be mindful of the fact that some of the more popular sports have been sort of dominated by some countries. I mean, basketball is kind of an American thing. Football, we give it to the Europeans and Brazil. So if we can find a sport where we can register our names, I mean, look at China and look at their medal haul.
Wow.
They didn't get those medals from the quote-unquote popular sports. So, but you can see that they've mastered some areas. I mean, when you talk about like table tennis, it's for the Asians.
It's their game.
It's their game, obviously. So let's look at sports that we know that we can advance in, we can introduce to children, probably at secondary school level, and primary school level even, and then we can develop from there and see where we can introduce ourselves and introduce Nigeria to the world. I think that's what we're looking forward to.
Okay, introduce Nigerian to the world. The 16-year-old is Inkosi Ibro, who of recent also is been inaugurated to the All-American Fencing first team for our own fencing team in America, I think that's a big one and a great one.
Of course, it's a great one. It speaks to the level of preparedness of that country and how they, catch them young, so to speak. So so for someone at 16 years old to have that sort of achievement, that sort of track record, that tells you this guy has been at it. He didn't just start today. He's been at it for a while. And at 16 years old, to have that kind of recognition is something is praiseworthy. And what I always look forward to in people like this and in sports like this is that it inspires a new generation of people who might
want to go into this.
Yeah, take off fencing and say, oh, if a 16-year-old can do it, so
then
can I?
can.
Of course.
Okay. Fencing, like I said, is an interesting sport. It's used by, though, a flexible sword, very flexible, and they have the way they score their points. There are chips attached to that sword, and when you score a point, it shows greens. When the point is against you, you see red, and that is what it is. Let's see how we can actually develop this sport. Come Los Angeles 2028, we believe Nigeria can get a medal in fencing. All right, moving ahead on the show now, we'll go straight to football. Let's look at this. Good news coming in from Kano, and this time around we'll talk about the second-tier league in Nigeria, that is the NNL, where Barau FC of Kano have unveiled Salisu Yusuf as their new coach, former under-23 coach, Super Eagles, home-based Super Eagles coach. Yeah. Now, Barau FC in Kano has unveiled him. That unveiling just happened some hours ago in Kano State, and that team will be playing in the Nigerian National League, the second-tier league of elite football in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's a big catch, and it's very good if you're familiar with the reputation of
Coach Salisu Yusuf.
He has a wide, a very impressive CV, if I may. To put it in context, that's like, say, a championship team in England hiring maybe Harry Redknapp or
yes, of course.
So that gives you an idea of what we're dealing with here. So here's a coach who has seen it all, done it all at the international level, and also won a couple trophies in the Nigerian Premier League, coming to the Nigerian National League to coach a team. I mean, it shows intent, right? It shows what this team is about, and it shows that they are not messing around, they're not playing around. They want to get their team playing at the highest level, and they've gone for the best coach that I think they can get.
Yes, the best coach they can get is homecoming for Coach Salisu Yusuf, Barau FC of Kano. They will be playing come next season in the Nigerian National League, and getting Coach Salisu Yusuf is a big one, like Omonile said. Yes, it's as if maybe let's look at the Pep Guardiolas of this world, a team like let's say Stoke City acquiring the services of Pep Guardiola to come and coach them in the English Premiership. Congratulations to Barau FC and also Coach Salisu Yusuf for at least taking that job in an NLS side. All right, let's now talk about NPFL, one team in the Nigerian Premier Football League, where we're waiting come the 31st of this month, just 2 weeks to the commencement of the Nigerian Premier Football League 2024-2025 season. Lobby Stars to camp in Jos ahead of new season. It's going to be a close campaign for this team. Last season, they are always Manchester City has broken that jinx, because every season in the Champions League, we say Manchester City looks like a team that win the Champions League. Finally, they did that. Now we can liken Lobby Stars to PSG, who has not won the Champions League. Every season, Lobby Stars look like a team that is going to win the Nigerian Premier Football League.
Yeah, I don't. First of all, I don't think the Lobby Stars fans are going to take too lightly to that comparison. but unfortunately, sadly, I have to agree. It's true. I mean, last season they started really well. You were thinking
topping the table and see,
and you're wondering, okay, maybe they can do it. Maybe this finally they are here. But then they slipped up at the end of the day, and I don't even think they made it the top 4 at the end of the day. Which is sad for a club of Lobby Stars' reputation. We know them. We've been familiar with this team for a while, and we know what they can do. So hopefully this camp brings them new ideas, bring them new inspiration, bring them new motivations. And if they are watching, I hope they are actually getting motivated and knowing that there are lots of people around Nigeria and maybe around the world who are rooting for them and are hoping for
the best,
greater success.
All right, greater season. They participated at the Unity Pre-season tournament that ended in Abuja here just on the course of the weekend also, and a couple of other pre-season. But now they are going for a close campaign in Jos. They will be using that place to actually acclimatize with the whole setting of the new season. The first game of the Nigerian Premier Football League will be between the champions, that is Enugu Rangers, and the President Federation's Cup champions, El Kanemi Warriors, come the 31st. Only one fixture for the match day one of the Nigerian Premier Football League. Every other fixtures will come up the following weekend. All right, let's leave MPFL and go straight to CAF. Yes, in the course of the weekend, they got a 2-1 win over Asfar of Morocco. And you know, when you are playing the North African teams, their antics, their politics, they are hostile, they are brutal, let me use those words. And now coach Daniel Ogumodede, coach of Remo Stars, says the team is ready for the antics and the hostilities in Morocco come next weekend, because the first leg, it was 2-1 here in Nigeria, and they will be going for the return leg come this next weekend. Yeah,
I mean, the North Africans, like you said, they are very, very passionate. When you go from Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, those guys are, they are very, very passionate. If you think Nigerians are passionate about football, try those guys. And they have actually dominated, to a reasonable extent, the African football, that Northern Africa hemisphere. And like the coach said, if you see that interview, he said something. He said he thinks that his boys may have respected that Moroccan team a little too much. Yeah, especially in like the closing stages of the first half, and then the first few minutes of the second half, where they ended up conceding that one goal. But now they are going to Morocco. They know what is ahead of them. I hope they do actually know that this is not going to be an easy fixture. Of course, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. It's not going to be an easy fixture, but you go in with determination. You go in and then you prove yourself, make a point of yourself.
Okay, if we look at the North African teams, they have always been a knock or crack for Nigerian teams, not Nigerian teams alone, most of the West African teams. I think it's only the South African teams that have their winning formula, their beating formula. The last time we had success over the North African team was with Enyimba International, where we actually defeated two of the best teams in the continent back-to-back in 2003 and 2004. Ismail of Egypt, we beat them to lift the trophy. Now, how can we really get back to how to, at least even at the national level, is always a big one, playing the North African countries? Yeah,
you have to understand, when you look at their teams, they have a lot of professionals who are still home-based, especially when you look at Morocco, Egypt. These guys play, first of all, Tunisia, they play at home. So their leagues have come to a level where their players are not always rushing out to Europe to play. Their biggest talents are not necessarily rushing out to Europe to play. So maybe that's one thing we need to look at. The average Nigerian player who is talented, who is young, who is upcoming, wants to rush out to Europe. So that's
for greener pastures.
Yeah, for greener pastures, unfortunately. So that's one thing we can consider. Another thing we can consider is cohesion within the team. You have to play for the shirt. You know, there's a popular saying in football that the name in front of the shirt has to be more important than the name at the back. So if you're working for the team, you're playing for the team, you're putting your blood and sweat on the pitch, you will start having some success. And like you said, last time we had it was 2004. Kids that were born in 2004 are now parents. so we need to write that history, and hopefully Remo Stars can do it.
Yes, hopefully Remo Stars can do it. We'll remember the likes of Abu Treka. He actually played all his life in Al Ahly of Egypt. He never went to Europe, and we have one in the Nigerian Premier Football League. He's with the same Mesugida boys. You know who I'm talking about, Rabiu Ali, the oldest man in the Nigerian Premier Football League. He's still waxing and still playing for Kano Pillars FC. All right, let's leave that and still stay on the continent, but this time we'll talk national matters. Well, it's a sad one for us. Who are going to be missing his until the doctors who are going to know the number of weeks and what have you. All I know, who plays for Nottingham Forest in the English Premier League, is doubtful for Super Eagles' clash against Benin Republic and Rwanda. He got injured in that game between Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest at the first weekend of the English Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very sad one. I mean, I believe the man just came back from another very, very lengthy layoff. The season started, first game of the season, and then he's injured again. It can be very, very devastating, and can have a very long-lasting mental effect on the player. But we're praying for him. We're hoping that this injury doesn't take him out for too long, because for both club and country, Olayano is a very, very, very important player. I don't think we have had that capacity, that level of left back in this country in a very, very long time. I mean, you have to go back as far back, maybe the likes of Taiwo, Salisu Barau, Daisy, yeah, for you to actually think of somebody who is at that level, who is very, very important on the club side, and also doing very well for us. So we're praying for him, and we're hoping that.
Let's stay with Nottingham Forest. Two of our players, the same team, or Taiwo Awoniyi is also suffering injury. What's up with Nottingham Forest with our players suffering injuries?
I guess Nottingham Forest may have to take a second look at their medical staff and see what they might be doing wrong or right. Maybe the trainings are too intense. Maybe the boys are not used to some of their routines, some of their regimen, which is something a club might need to consider, especially when these injuries seem to be recurring and it's happening and affecting some of your best players. I mean, we're not just talking as Nigerians here. Taiwo and Olayano are some of the best players that Nottingham Forest have.
Yes,
they are very important to the team, to their season. Without those two guys, this club, with all due respect, might actually be relegation candidates. So they may have to take a second look at what they are doing wrong and then maybe make some corrections.
Yes, make some correction. The medical team just have to be up and running and look at what it is. We are praying for Olayano quick recovery as we want you back with the Super Eagles in the Super Eagles fold as we're preparing for the AFCON qualifiers. No coach yet for the Super Eagles. We are waiting. We're hearing that very soon, before the end of the month, we're going to have a coach named for Super Eagles. All right, let's leave Africa. Let's leave Super Eagles and go to Europe. Good news, while we're still looking at Super Eagles player, two of them did so well in the course of the weekend, starting the season on a winning note, and not just a winning note, with a medal around their neck. We're talking about Nathan Tella and Victor Boniface. Doing so well with Xabi Alonso, the man who is on the part of history again, who has set history and is on the part of history, winning the German Super Cup for the very first time, first season opener, and they are having medal.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant to see a football club who is starting where they left off. You know, for such a team as Bayern Leverkusen, you're looking at them and you're going, can they repeat what they did last season? And if the result of the weekend is anything to go by, they are telling you, yes, we're ready, yes, we can replicate those results. And I mean, for Victor Boniface, is fast and quickly becoming a fan favorite. I'm a big fan of Victor Boniface, and I'm always wishing him all the best. He knows how to connect with the people. He also knows how to do his business on the pitch. So on the pitch and off the pitch, he's an excellent, fantastic guy, all around excellent.
And there was an interview. They say he brings life into the dressing room. He's always the one that will bring the music, the comic relief, and what have you. Okay, let's stay with Bayer Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso, before coming into the studio, we actually talked about this. He has played under some of the best coaches in the world. Yes. Mourinho, Pep, Ancelotti, Benitez, some of the best. And somebody say, okay, he actually learned from this guy. Do you think he learned from them, or he just developed himself?
I mean, maybe it's a little bit of both. I think that there's an old interview of Jose Mourinho where they asked him, of all your former players, which one do you think will make a great coach? And he went straight to Xabi Alonso. And then they asked him why Xabi Alonso. He said, look at the kind of managers he has played under. And then understand that some of the best coaches these days come from that defensive midfield, central midfield position. I mean, when you look at the
Zinedine Zidane,
Pep Guardiola, Xabi Alonso,
even Diego Simeone,
and the very best one of them, as far as I'm concerned, the man himself, Mikel Arteta.
Yes, of course.
They are all midfield maestros who understand how to control the game, who are also leaders for their teams when they were playing. So I guess they understand how to connect between the defense and the attack. And you can see with the result that Xabi Alonso is producing now. I mean, we can all be happy for our boy Victor Boniface that he's learning from the best, and hopefully he can replicate the same.
Yes, hopefully Victor Boniface and Nathan Tella can replicate the same when they call it a quit playing football. And for Xabi Alonso, congratulations to Xabi Alonso, congratulations to Victor Boniface, Nathan Tella, starting the season on a winning note. Not just winning, getting the medal around their neck. That game was a very tough one. 10 man down, and they were able to equalize. Victor Boniface was on the score sheet, and they went straight to penalties. They got but can they really defend their title they won last season?
Well, first of all, this is the story of Bayern Leverkusen, right? You never count them out. You would think they are going out. You think they won't win, but for some reason they just bust for the and then they find they win it. Can they retain their league? It's going to be tough, right? But then don't forget, Bayern Munich also have a very young coach in Vision Company who they are expecting will be their biggest rivals.
Okay.
So who knows? Maybe they can do it again. I will certainly be rooting for Bayern Leverkusen this season
to do it
and hoping they do it again. I mean, Bayern Munich has dominated that league for too long.
Okay.
We need new champions.
All right, let's go straight to some results in the course of the weekend. Let's quickly look at the French Ligue 1 result. We'll just look at the result without the table. Let's look at French Ligue 1 result. Okay, Serie A result first before. Okay, we have the French Ligue 1 result on the screen. We have Auxerre beating Nice 2-1, Angers 0, Lens 1, Montpellier and Strasbourg played 1-1 draw. Toulouse on Nantes. Moses Simon was in action in that game for Nantes. It was a goalless draw. Rennes beat Lyon 3-0. Brest 1, Marseille 5. Greenwood, I think Manchester United will be licking their wounds for selling Greenwood. 5-1 against Brest. Luxley beat Reims 2-0 and Monaco beat Saint-Etienne 1-0 and Le Havre won Paris Saint-Germain, starting the season also on a winning note. They started life after Kylian Mbappe 4-1 thrashing of Le Havre. Let's just have the first side of the table quickly and then we'll take the result of the Italian Serie A. Marseille topping the table and Nantes on the 10th position with 1 point. That's the first game of the season. And let's look at the Italian Serie A. Let's look at result for Italian Serie A. Disappointing for Napoli. They were thrashed 3-0 by Hellas Verona. Udinese won, Bologna won. We have Cagliari and Roma playing out a goalless draw. Lazio won, Venezia won. Lazio 3, Genoa 2, Inter Milan 2. Disappointing for Inter Milan. Parma won, Fiorentina won. AC Milan and Torino played a 2-2 draw. Two teams from the same city, Inter and AC Milan, playing a draw on their first day of the season, and Empoli and Monza also playing a goalless draw. Let's look at fixture quickly that will be coming up tonight. We have fixtures in the top 4 games in leagues in Europe. Leicester City against Tottenham Hotspur in EPL, Real Valladolid, Espanyol, Villarreal, Atletico Madrid, Lecce, Atlanta, Juventus, Como. We'll be seeing Cesc Fabregas in action tonight. Let's quickly look at that, and then before we talk of a Leicester City game, before we go out of the studio, Juventus against Como at the Allianz Arena.
Yeah, that's going to be a very tough one for Cesc Fabregas, but then maybe it's better to play them now than to play them later in the future, but then it's going to let them know where they are and maybe they can survive another season, survive their first season in Serie A. So good luck to Cesc Fabregas and his boys. Okay,
good luck to Cesc Fabregas and his boys. All right, I fear that is where we'll be leaving it on the program this evening on Sports Update. Last one, thanks for joining me on the show. It's been a wonderful one.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
All right, that is it on the program Sports Update. I am Emmanuel Fashion. Say thanks for watching.